Yes. Soon enough, you will forget. We now return to Prince William by Night, the night shift. We last left our coterie having dinner with the family. Is it possible that Luke will be made the final course? Let's find out, shall we?
So this new prince, the Rose, Fiona, she disrespected you in front of the court of her domain?
Yes.
You can ask, and I'll gesture to the Sombra of the room.
He follows your gesture. What have you to say on the matter? Gerard stands up. It is as they say. They were summoned by the prince. They answered the summons, and they were paraded in front of the domain and treated like children, dogs, who had peed on the floor. It's very matter of fact. He doesn't get emotional about it. He just kind of reports his perspective.
Oh, and we were giving someone to oversee our business as well.
He doesn't bat an eye at that. Armand does look at Gerard in kind of confirmation. Gerard gives only the slightest nod.
I won't go into the details of that. We can do that in private.
We are in private. Anything you have to say on family matters can be said in this hall. And he turns on a heel to Luke. You are an outsider. You have accepted the hospitality of my home. And now I will ask you to step from the room.
He'll stand up and walk to the nearest exit.
They will take good care of you if you let them.
Thank you. I appreciate your kindness. I will not forget your hospitality.
He doesn't pay you any more mind. He goes right back, waits for the large doors to be closed behind you with a loud and solid thunk. You can even hear a bar being pushed into place from the inside. The room's actually been barred. Servants quickly usher you to like a kitchen table where they again recreate your place setting, and even the food that you were being served is again served to you. A bottle, fresh one, is pulled out and sat in front of you. They answer whatever beck and call you might have, Luke.
He snaps. Can you give me more of the sausages?
At once, sir. And the guy that had instructed you to be more in charge is still your server, and he steps and fetches like his life depended on it. It really looks like that. There are people watching him.
He leans back and he feels oddly satisfied. He's never been waited on this like this his entire life, ever, even before his unlife began. And this is something new to him, and he likes it.
Your beast kind of laughs at you with a mocking chuckle You look like a rube. Go shopping. Back in the dining hall, Armand continues. So, I believe I overheard something mentioned about you, Mr. Gerard, and your project being outed in the middle of Elysium. Is that correct, gentlemen? And he casts his look as he walks around the table back to you guys. I speak,
correct.
of course, of Miss Dearie.
Yes, Miss Dearie and her child.
Yes. So I'm sure the Cam and their lovely ivory tower were just tickled as hell to find out that a brand new embraced child has embraced. Did they make a point of it?
They did.
Did they call a hunt?
They did not call a hunt. However, Mr. Gerard is the one that's personally overseeing us.
I will be clear. He owes no allegiance to the tower. He is there because we put him there. He is not your minder or your babysitter and will not function as such. Is that clear enough for everyone? There are nods around the room.
That's fine for me, but I think the Camarilla thinks differently.
Do you know who Mr. Gerard is? Let me enlighten you. He is one of ours. He serves a very definitive purpose. Mr. Gerard was placed in the domain of Prince William. He is one of our assassins. Plain and simple, he is a killer. He holds no authority here at this table, though when he is here and I am here, he is my private guardian. But he holds no authority beyond that, and he cuts a look at Gerard like, you had better fucking step. Gerard quickly nods, acknowledging him with a deep head nod, and takes his seat again. He has his missions, his purpose. If he requests your aid, I expect it to be given. Likewise, if he can be of service to you, he will do that, or he will answer. Now, this child of the child has a name?
Yes, Miss Collie.
Miss Collie. Is she a danger to us? I'll ask it a second time.
I feel without the proper guidance, yes.
Has anyone guided her? Taken responsibility?
I'm attempting.
He scrunches his face a little bit. Very well. I expect to hear progress in the coming weeks. Anything less should be met with final death to the child.
I will look at Gerard to see his expression with murdering the child.
Let's go with wits and insight.
Three.
There is the minutest of micro expressions on his face. Maybe it was a constricted pupil, a moment of flush of color at the mention of it. What that means, hard to say, but he definitely reacted to the decree of final judgment if it's necessary.
I will look at him and say, don't worry, I will try to curb this behavior before extreme measures are needed.
I'll accept that on face value for now. Will that work for you?
If it works for you, it works for me.
Excellent. Good answer. And what of Gerard's child, Miss Dearie? I believe she keeps company with most of you?
Yes, she... unless I've been misinformed, she is the least troublesome out of the new childhood that have appeared in the domain.
What of the Malkavian?
Doctor?
No, the one in the news.
It is my understanding after we acquisitioned her and brought her back to the hospital, she is still currently residing over there. I have yet to have a chance to be able to sit down with Dr. Weiss as far as a treatment plan. However, that situation is currently under control. I did contact Mr. Balakwa as far as the law enforcement end of things, in order to attempt to take some of the public eye off of her. And as a current standing, she is not a top priority. However, the murder in question is still under investigation.
I did take care of the medical reports for the crime and pointed to things not related to the family, or kindred.
It's acceptable. Again, for now, the time being, it seems like you are each taking the actions necessary to keep this from becoming something that requires further attention. Mr. Grillo.
Signor Giovanni.
Can you tell me why there's a screaming person on your shoulder?
Yes, I have been working on removing what is left of one Ezekiel White.
You know of this person?
I do now.
What is your connection with Mr. White?
I was asked to remove him.
By whom?
By us.
So, am I to understand that you are in the employ of Mr. Milliner and vicariously Dr. Germain?
Well, this would seem the appropriate time. I bring greetings from Santini Pisanob of San Antonio, and he bid me to let you know that this was in my possession.
He pauses. You can see the wheels turning. Mr. Santini gave this to you. Is that what I just heard?
Yes.
And wished me to know it?
I only relay what was told to me.
Curious. I would be careful who you show that to. Very careful. That holds weight. So, Mr. Grillo, what, again, he stammers for a second. What is your connection with Mr. White? What is it? Why is he here?
Well, when I was bidden to remove him, I was able to experience some of his memories, some of his unfortunate dealings in the domain of Prince William. And I have some interesting plans for him in the end. But for the moment, I'm working on binding him and removing his presence permanently.
An interesting endeavor. Seems a little indifferent to what you have to say. Seems maybe the slightest bit personal, though he's hiding it very well. Gerard, these children of yours, are they a danger to us? And he turns to face the man directly. Gerard again stands up, turns to face him. They have potential and use. Armand interrupts. I know that Miss Dearie has value. But why has she sired another? And there's a slight darkening of the air around Armand. There's a reflexive action from Gerard as the darkness as well gathers around him. It is tense. Several persons near the head of the table have backed their chairs up and away from Gerard. There is a moment where there's a look cast between the Giovanni and Mr. Ballantyne. You threaten me in my home? The room has gone deathly quiet. You could hear a mouse peeing if you wanted to. Bring me Vincent. Now, you see Gerard takes a step back from the table and positions himself behind his chair and clearly looks nervous. Small beads of blood sweat form on his head. The old man, or the older gentleman standing behind the woman, quickly taps once on his cane, retrieving it from the doorman, slides the bolt free, and walks out. What are you guys doing at this moment?
Serving and waiting for an opportunity after this ceases to be able to speak to Armand as far as permissions.
Likewise, other than that, I am paying very close attention to the events unfolding.
Actually, curious about Gerard, and I'm gonna talk to him.
By all means. There's definitely some tense quietness in the air after he summoned a person named Vincent.
So who is this Vincent person?
And you're asking that of Gerard?
Mm-hmm.
Gerard is very, very keen not to take his eyes off of Armand, though he kind of cheats his look sort of in your direction, but he doesn't make eye contact. He doesn't take his eyes off of Armand for a second. Armand quickly gives him a brief nod. Vincent is your new boss and mine. There's a brief hang in the air, and the doors are like thrown open. And a very, yes, sir.
I guess, would Luke see the comings and goings of the doorman?
You're in a kitchen table.
Oh, so I'm out of the way.
Yeah, you've been like sequestered away from the dining room.
Okay, I was just wondering if I could see him coming up the central hallway, but that's
No.
gotcha.
No, they are entertaining you as best they can to keep you busy. And it kind of
Gotcha.
feels that way. They're paying you a little bit too much attention. And a gentleman, 6'4", broad in the shoulder, is a beefy individual, carries a big voice, has a cigar stuck between two chubby fingers. Hey, I'm late for dinner. Armand takes his eyes off of Gerard and turns. Vincent, come on in. Have a seat. And he motions to the only empty chair that was to the right of Armand. Have a seat, Gerard. Now. Gerard hesitates. 4 other members that were sitting on the right side of the table stand up. Those of you with Oblivion sight see one of them blink out of visual light, just disappears. If you have Abyssal sight, you can see him literally step into the abyss. The other 2 circle the table to where Gerard is standing off behind the chair. They don't touch him. Take a seat, Mr. Ballantyne. Vincent slowly walks towards his seat at the table, knocks some ash on the ground as he goes. He's looking over everybody gathered. Puts the cigar right on the top plate. Yeah, have a seat, boy. The 2 gentlemen that approached pull his chair out and again motion for him to sit. Gerard, you can see Gerard is clearly uncomfortable, but he relents. Doesn't let go of his shadows, but he does take his seat. The individual that disappeared reappears almost immediately behind him and has a sword at his throat. It is impressed upon his throat. Armand walks up behind Vincent, claps him on the shoulder. It's good to see you, Vincent. Hey, at least you're throwing a good party again. I'm not bored. Can't tell if it's Boston, New York. He's got a mix of accents. It's kind of odd. Armand goes to Gerard, takes hold of the sword. The other gentleman releases it, and he drags it across his throat. Doesn't cut into him deeply. Gerard does not flinch. He doesn't move. He doesn't make a sound. But there is clearly a long cut across his neck that is now red and leaking a bit. Now the smell in the room takes on that other tint of vitae, but it's older. It's mouthwatering, and it's flowing. Anybody here with a Methuselah's thirst? Okay. It's tempting, but this is not your house. I don't think I need to say another word to you, Gerard, you are dismissed and may leave my house. If you don't, you will never. Goodbye. The doorman opened the door. People back away from him. The sword is placed on the table where his place was, over his dishes, and a loud clatter. The blood still on the blade. We don't operate like the Camarilla. We don't operate like anarchs, and we don't operate like those savages, the Sabbat. We are the family. We have ways of doing things. Mr. Gerard is not your problem, gentlemen, though his childer may be. You've claimed to accountability in front of those cams. Well, so be it. Their missteps are your missteps.
Accountability was given to, Gerard because they were his actual childer.
As Gerard makes his way and is almost to the door, Armand puts his head back a little and speaks a little louder. Not any longer. They are forfeit. They are orphaned. If you have interest in their safety or their continued unlife, so be it. If you don't, so be it. Take care of the issue one way or the other. Is that okay with you, gentlemen?
Absolutely, sir.
Excellent. Why did we bring an outsider to dinner? I'm curious now. He sits down.
It was because apparently a fortnight ago, our associate decided to break into a Ventru compound. He retrieved some electronics that this evening we found out had voices of the shroud that you may be interested in. So it seems the Ventru here are attempting to intercede on our business, as it were.
Microphone. There's a chuckle from Vincent. Probably the only person who makes sound during this little intercourse. You know, Armand, this whole dinner thing is a blast, but why did you summon me? He points towards the door as the last sights of Gerard can be seen disappearing from the closing door. I need you to take care of something, Vincent, and you will now oversee what's going on in Prince William. You asked for a favor, and I've given it. Do with it as you see. Don't endanger the family. Make profits. Take souls. I don't care. But I don't want to hear about problems coming out of that domain again. I really don't want to hear about it. Vincent takes up his cigar and relights it. Smoking right there, middle of dinner. He gets a couple dirty looks from some of those gathered at the family table. He doesn't pay him any mind. In fact, he doesn't really pay anybody any attention other than Armand. So, you want me to do what exactly? Find out everything you need to know, Vincent, about this hospital, what they're doing. I hear there's been an expansion, but I've digressed and been sidetracked. Mr. Grillo, you were telling me about your visitor, your passenger. You have
Yes.
plans?
I do. I have done some reading, and I am interested in making an attempt to bring the currency of the dead into our realm.
That seems to get attention from many seats at the table. They all turn to look at you and watch expectantly. Go on.
Well, I have never heard of it being done before, and I enjoy a challenge. And this one, as he touches his pocket, tapping the medallion, is worthy of such a fate.
Do the rest of you know about this? He kind of motions to Milliner and Germain.
Yeah, we know.
And it has value, has merit.
You know of the individual who he speaks of was a primary spiritor in the incident that happened at the farm, as it's been relayed to us on multiple standings. So he has a
If I may
cause.
be so impertinent, he was the main cause of the incident at the farm.
Which incident? There's been more than one. The one that brought
most
the
recent.
tower down, or what happened some months ago?
The fire spectacle.
Really? He had that kind of influence over this domain?
No, he was its victim due to the massacre at the farm, among other things.
Interesting.
That brings another bit of business. We were giving property at the Elysium. It's something that they wanted to get rid of and also wanted us to fix for free. But it's the property of the Marrakesh farm.
And this was given to you?
Correct.
Yes.
But one of their Primogen.
Who exactly?
The Nos. One
Hyla.
Lupo?
Ah, Miss Lupo. She's a dangerous person. You should be careful in your dealings with her.
Absolutely.
She has plans. I'd like to know what they are if you can find out. I would consider that a favor.
We can definitely take care of that, sir.
I just know the Nos, just her and someone named Damien.
He does pause. He has a visible reaction to the name. We know this person. Again, cautious with your dealings and interactions. He's dangerous. It's whatever. He carries weight in several circles, the least of which being the Ivory Tower. He's one of their minions, archons. He's a soldier. But his loyalties are questionable. Maybe you can leverage that.
You can definitely inquire.
So this Dr. Weiss, the psychiatrist, right?
Yes.
Is she a member of their court?
I know she's brought up to a certain extent in Camarilla's standards and policies. I'm not sure if she associates herself as a member of their court.
She's being accepted by them?
She currently resides and is employed in our domain.
But she has Camarilla ties.
Yes.
Use caution.
Previous ties.
Don't be stupid. Which I don't attribute that with either of you. I don't know you well enough, Mr. Grillo, yet to make that assertion. But we will be watching. Be assured of that. The family comes first. Always.
Familia es todo.
I am not sure what will come of Mr. Gerard. I don't appreciate being threatened in my own home. But it's something I will attend to, I assure you. He gets up. Good.
I was just gonna say, do you want us to take care of him? Not in a menacing way, take care of it, but just to give him a place to stay and think about what he's done.
He walks past Vincent, claps him on the shoulder again, and says, if he lives past this evening, he will be a tool to be used. Vincent, attend me. Vincent shrugs, stubs out his cigar, stands up, and follows Armand as Armand walks towards the foot of the table. As he reaches the foot, he strikes out a vicious hand, gripping the beautiful lady by the throat, lifting her from her chair as she grasps at his hand, and her feet begin to flail and kick, knocking her chair over, knocking her plates around, knocking over a glass. And without another word, he walks through the door as it's opened by the doorman, leaving the rest of the dinner unattended by himself. There's a lot of murmuring as the doors close. Luke, your attendee, quickly leans down to you and says, you can rejoin your friends.
He nods, stands up, and leaves the room to go back to his little corner table.
You are led and escorted. Your table has been reset. Everything that was there is gone. It's a nice, clean, new table. You notice there's some missing people. The lady in the red dress is gone. So was the host. Mr. Armand Giovanni has disappeared. There's some chairs that have been scooted back. There's a servant is riding a chair at the foot of the table. And you see Javier, CJ, and Jude kind of taking it in, I guess.
Is everyone still sitting in their places as far as I can tell?
Mostly. A couple people are standing up and have like moved to a side of the room to whisper to each other. But for the most part, everybody's still engaged in dinner as the next course is being brought out as if nothing had occurred.
Yes.
Good.
I guess Luke will go to the corner then. He's gone this far just by copying what everyone else is doing, so he's going to stick to the script.
Yeah, you guys see Luke led back in after Armand exits.
Would I have a way to contact Gerard? Like, we were supposed to be in communication, and he's supposed to be like overseeing our business.
I would imagine that a way to communicate him has been given to you. Maybe a phone number or text, email address. Probably not an email address, but there's some phone number that you can call to get in touch with him.
I'm gonna text hospital. Go. We will be expecting you. And then I will message Chief Petty and say, I'm expecting a guest. Send them to my office.
You get a pretty rapid reply from Petty. This is no problem. We'll take care of it.
Cool. And then I will say, well, I have some videotapes to return. And look at the skin that I do not have a watch on right now, and just be like, it's time to leave. I'm gonna get up and start walking to the car.
You get a couple of nods, waves, acknowledgments as you start to head towards the door. Nobody stops you unless CJ or Javier or Luke does. Luke, it's clear that
I would
Jude is
say
up and out.
I'll be there in a couple of minutes, and on the way out, I'm gonna see if I can catch either Armand or Vincent.
All right.
I would be following CJ.
Luke would figure that since his ride is leaving, he should probably leave too.
I would feel very alone in this room as the three of them start to exit. There have been looks shot your way like you're some kind of meat dangling in front of a shark tank. Like, especially as the three of them start to exit, you get a lot more attention than you've gotten all evening.
Ooh, the next course.
Time to exit.
So yeah, Luke excuses himself and quickly follows suit, catching up to Javier, CJ, and Jude on their way out. Well, we cut back in with Javier, Luke, and CJ catching a glimpse of the elder servant, as could be identified since he was the one who announced Armand. I can't look at his damn name. I haven't burned it into my brain yet. Armand Giovanni. Got it. And he is ushering Armand into a room in the main hall. He doesn't close the door. So in Giovanni terms, or the family, that's an invitation that says, I'm open to interruption. If the door were closed, that's a sign of fuck off. I don't want anything to do with you. Now, Luke, Jude has disappeared. Nowhere in sight. Like, he is gone. And you are in a house full of the Death Eaters, for lack of a better term. This is now an uncomfortable place for you. It's not that you feel like you got to run away, but you know that you are sorely outnumbered. And even if these two were to back you up, which you can't really say would happen, you are sorely outnumbered. And the amount of age that you could smell from different persons tells you that that was an important room to be in and not be the subject of.
Gotcha.
So,
I'm
CJ, Javier, and Luke. Okay, so do either of you have any words for Luke as he exits out behind you?
Well done on not fucking that up.
Thank you. I I guess I didn't do anything wrong, I suppose.
Yeah, you definitely
would've
held
known.
your ground. And I am highly impressed.
He finds it a bit odd. He says, thanks. I don't know, I just focused on my food, and I guess it went well. Did the conversation go well in there while I was gone, or poorly, or
It
none of my business?
opened up a couple of avenues, let's just say that, but for now you were asked to do something in vehicle before coming here, and you succeeded in that task. You did not embarrass us. You held your ground. So, again,
And
I'm-
you were polite
I'm highly
to your
impressed.
host.
yes.
Of course, I've been in a few courts, and there are a few rules that seem to always hold up.
So yeah, there's some high praise coming from Milliner and Grillo. Milliner, your attention keeps getting drawn to the door that's open.
I would eventually make my way over to who's ever attending the door, because I'm assuming it's either the steward or some other guard.
As a matter of fact, there are none. He has shooed them away, or dismissed them,
Really?
or told them to attend to other things.
Then I would motion to Javier, and I would give him in pigeon speak. Keep an eye on Wolf. I'll be but a couple of minutes.
I would agree, but also with the subtext of I would prefer to join you. I have purpose as well.
Then bring him along, because we can't leave him on his own.
Understood. Mr. Lennox, you will be coming with us, and I would recommend highly that you stay silent unless directly addressed.
Oh. CJ turns, followed by Javier and Luke, approaching the door that stands ajar. It looks like it leads into a den or maybe a lounge of some kind. There's crafted bookshelves and curio cabinets displaying this, that, and the other. There is a large desk in this room. Has a very large plush leather chair behind it, kind of burgundy in color, very fitting for the environment. And there is indeed Armand leaned over a globe that's been pulled half open. It's one of those very nice bars that's a little hidden bar. And he is decanting something that definitely does not smell like blood. Come on in. I hear your footsteps. He doesn't turn to acknowledge the three of you.
Step inside.
Likewise.
As with I.
He cheats over his shoulder a little. Mr. Milliner, Grillo, and Mr. Lennox. I apologize for the disturbance at dinner.
You had to handle business. It's something that is unavoidable at times, Don Giovanni.
Please come in. Be comfortable.
Thank you,
A
Doc.
drink for any of you.
Por favor.
I'm okay.
Thank you. I would be glad to take one.
He turns back around to the bar, pulls out another pair of glasses, and pours whatever's in the decanter into it. Probably a measure of 3 fingers. It's a healthy pour. And he comes back over. He says, "This is the last bottle. Enjoy." And he hands you both a crystalline Scotch glass with 3 fingers of some very nice looking amber liquid. If you were still human, the smell would be smoky and intense. It is definitely some kind of Scotch. Javier probably smells a bit like diesel to you. An unfortunate side effect of being undead and unable to consume things. Likewise, Luke, I don't know if you're a Scotch guy, but if you were, this would smell fucking amazing. Even to a vampire that thinks everything tastes like Ashe, it would still smell amazing, even with the hint of diesel. He goes on to pull out the bottle, and he actually passes it over, noticing Javier's face. And he hands him the bottle. It's a fairly ornate bottle that has a gold-encrusted label on it with the seal of Her Majesty the Queen and King Edward. It's a rather old habit of mine I still enjoy from time to time. This is the last bottle that was ever made for them. Enjoy it. And he takes a healthy swig from his glass. And he goes to his desk. He sits down and motions to the other chairs that are across his desk. And there are, in fact, 4. Luke, none of them are in a second row, so they're all right up to the desk. So
Javier is going to raise his glass and say, I appreciate what has been given, and take a sip.
Luke's gonna sip it as well.
Well, we'll head over to a chair.
Yes, on my way to sit down.
Luke will sit down after everyone else has sat down, or at least after CJ and Javier have.
Excellent. He looks towards the door, nods once, and out of nowhere, somebody appears and closes the doors and disappears. It's pretty fluid. Everything in this castle, this house, runs tight ship. At least that would be your observation, Luke. This is definitely not the showboat parade of the Camarilla. It's not the chaos of the 3 monkeys or the rest of the domain. This house definitely has function. Mind if I call you CJ?
You may call me Carlisle.
Carlisle. Javier?
Javier is fine, my don.
Luke? That okay with you?
Yes.
And please,
That
just
suit me well.
Armand is fine. Titles are not needed here, but thank you for the respect. What's on your mind, Carlisle? You didn't come to my office without a purpose.
Oh, of course not. I'm sure you know of my blood as it is. Business is business.
Indeed it is. Do you have business for me?
I do. For at least the past 6 months, we've pushed our hospital repository of Vitae at least 60% over what we averaged on a regular basis. And instead of kicking the customary 20% up to the family, we pushed an extra 10% off the top specifically for you. On top of that, because of the insult that was pushed upon us in Elysium, I feel a couple of things should be established as far as our domain, specifically in Prince William, and I wanted to make sure, with your permission, to attempt to contain our domain and help establish its dominance at this point. Certain contingencies have to be put into place.
He looks thoughtfully sincere. What contingencies need to be put in place?
First and foremost, in order for us to hold our foothold in, I would humbly request, since the time has come, to my understanding, to open the books, as it were, to be able to raise a couple of individuals up in actual title and standing in order to help facilitate our foothold.
And who do you have in mind for elevation?
One Ravnos, by the way of Rico Suede. He's proven himself extremely loyal. He's even gone as far as taking a piece of his own unlife to ensure that one of what I like to refer to as the Shadow Sisters did not breach a masquerade and bring unnecessary attention onto our establishment.
But there was a breach.
By a different individual, and without his assistance, it would have been multiple.
I trust that you and your associates will have this under control and does not require my personal attention.
Absolutely, that is our first and foremost action.
What other contingencies?
The second individual to raise up would be my cousin Javier here, with the condition, when he completes his task of handling the spiritual aspect of the farm.
The farm has family interests,
Absolutely.
as do some other currently Camarilla-held interests. But that's a talk not for today in mixed company. He gives
Yes.
you a polite nod, Luke. You would vouch for Javier Grillo?
I would.
We'll take that under advisement. Mr. Grillo, Javier, provisionally, I name you a friend of the family. I would
Thank you, Armand.
go further, provisionally. Mr. Milliner and the good doctor are intense fellows with driven passions. If you are anything like them, then I look forward to seeing what comes of your efforts.
I appreciate your faith.
Aside from your curiosity with your passenger, what else?
I should start by saying I was bidden to share more with you than what I shared at dinner. I was instructed to present myself upon finding the domain I was looking for, which happened to be Prince William. I was also instructed to make myself useful to the family in whatever way I could find. In my short time here, I have made a investment into the hospital, as my cousin has explained. Additionally, I had thought that perhaps the farm could be a front of some sort for the arms business if that suits our interests in this area. It provides a useful cover for me in my dealings with one Mr. White.
This business of yours, have you run this past Carlisle and Jude?
I have.
Yes.
And you support him in this endeavor?
I told him other things need to be dealt with first. Obviously. But it would definitely be taken under advisement and brought to the table at an appropriate time.
Vincent will be useful to you, I'm sure. He is different, but he is definitely family. He comes from the Sicilian side of things. Has a long history in his family of serving the family well. He pays it uphill, as is expected, and is rewarded accordingly. Likewise, if your endeavors prove to enrich the family in whatever means become of it, you likewise will be rewarded appropriately. Fail, and you can expect, well, failure has its own cost. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Carlisle?
Absolutely.
Mr. Lennox, Luke, I'm sorry, I tend to fall back on old habits, even when talking in private. I don't think I need to caution you. I'm pretty sure your associates will do that far enough about loose lips.
I've never been one to inappropriately spread secrets.
Can I offer you a piece of observation? You are the first outsider to sit in my dining hall in over 160 years. You are witness to a lot of people you would probably never meet. You may have overheard things that you should never hear. I would take that under advisement and not repeat things that are not your business.
I appreciate the honor of being the first one there. And as I'm not sure if my associate made this known to you, but recently I acquired information on the Ventru on matters that I feel can relate to your family's expertise. And he takes out the flash drive and puts it on the table.
As you talk, and about the time where you're wrapping up and starting to reach in your pocket, he literally turns his chair 180 degrees as he's like sipping at his glass of scotch when you place it on the table. He lets it sit for a moment before he turns back around. He looks at it. Yes. What do I do with that? I know what it is before you suggest otherwise, but what is it?
It's a recording of some kind of shadowy creature in a cavern, and there's footage of it of 12 coffins, one of which is open and the other one looks broken. And it seems that whatever the shadow was destroyed all the equipment at the end of the recording. I don't know anything about this kind of stuff. I'm unaware of the shadows in the afterlife, but I felt you should know.
Do either of you know anything about this?
I can question Mr. White at a future date.
Yes, I think that would be appropriate. Mr. Luke, Do you often go into meetings with persons such as myself and offer freely everything that you could possibly leverage?
No, not often.
And you hope to gain what by doing so now?
I hope to show my appreciation.
Very well. He places a hand over the USB stick and says, "Your gift is accepted." And he drops it into a drawer at his desk and slides it closed. I have no doubt that your ride to wherever you are going when you leave here, Mr. Carlisle, CJ, is going to give you a bit of an education on the value of things. Gifts are nice, but never give something without getting. You do yourself a disservice. He relaxes a bit, leans back. So, this thing that you found information on, where did you get it exactly?
I found it. I found it in a facility that seems to hold a lot of data. It's one of those like computing centers. I followed the executive there and I found this among many other similar such drives.
And I think you mentioned something about this being a venture interest?
Yes. From what I understand, the company that owned this place, that owned this employee, was controlled by the Ventru.
He reaches his right hand to an opposite drawer from where he deposited your USB stick, and he pulls out a glossy 8x10 printed image and places it on the desk for all of you to see. He says nothing. You may want to practice. Luke, Carlisle, Javier, when you look at the picture, it is a picture of Luke with his hand impaled onto a metal box of some kind, and the still image catches a look of rage or panic or frustration on his face, and there's a slight blur. You can see a slight blur of motion that was captured in the image. What you did, Luke, and I'm telling you this out of courtesy, is you violated someone's domain. Somebody powerful. And it was already brought to our attention through our various means of gathering information. You should be very careful whose porch you piss on. You have not made a friend in that endeavor. I am telling you this as a courtesy in appreciation for your gift.
Of course.
Carlisle, do you have any further information on Luke's extracurricular activities?
Tell you, for someone who was supposedly gifted to us by the local sheriff, he has been rather helpful to his detriment to our cause. And the other end of the gifts that he handed off to you did not come without a price. The final contingency I was going to recommend is having Luke as a probational soldier, because in order for us to continue to hold a foothold in our current domain, we do need a couple of extra bodies, and up until I would like to say tonight, but I'm going to retract that to recently. He has proved himself rather helpful, and in the same aspect as Rico Suede, I would like to bring him into the fold. I feel he would be an asset if properly trained.
And this is something that you want, Luke?
Yes.
To work for us, the family?
You've treated me better than any other court I've been in. And I've been in many.
Javier, what do you need?
The most precious thing of all, unfortunately, time and opportunities to research. The eventual disposal of Mr. White is a rather routine affair, as I'm sure one of your experience would know. However, my end goal is a bit more complicated.
I don't need to know the details of your end goal so long as it serves the overall purpose. I give you leave to conduct your business.
I thank you.
Carlisle, you keep interesting company.
Seems so these past couple of weeks. I like to refer to it as the Island of Misfit Toys, but slowly, eventually, it seems to be balancing out.
I trust that you and Dr. Germain will see to what needs to be seen with your chosen associates and the wayward children.
Absolutely, we will do our best, and if that is not good enough, I understand the consequences.
As far as Luke and his employment, as it were, that is up to you. I don't micromanage. I have enough on my plate.
Absolutely. I was going to base it only contingently as it is, on the basis that if he does anything to endanger the family or any of our endeavors, he will be serving a trip back over here for proper correction, and if need be, he shall not be leaving this compound. Isn't that the full understanding, Luke?
Yes.
Excellent. I tire and wary of this. No offense to you, gentlemen. I have other duties to attend to. My evening will run long. You may reach out through Vincent if you need my attention or assistance. Take Vincent with a grain of salt. He may seem abrupt or at times the buffoon, but I assure you he is quite capable. He is one of our, let's say, Camarilla agents. He has his jobs to do. He has a function to perform. He will liaison for you between the Camarilla and yourselves. I will send a communique to Her Majesty expressing my displeasure at her open disrespect of our family. I suspect that it will likely cause you static.
I feel with the contingencies I requested set in place and careful planning, we should be able to handle it. And I want to again thank you for your hospitality this evening. It's been a welcome change as opposed to things we've experienced here in the past 6 months.
I am sure at some point I will hear more about what you've experienced over the past several months. Go with the family's blessing and bring honor, not shame. And he, instead of reaching out to shake anyone's hand, he proffers his ring.
I need to make a willpower check.
Yes, sir.
Two.
Are we referring to compulsion or are we referring to a conviction?
Flaw.
Oh, right. Which flaw? Because I'm looking at the ones you have on your sheet, and
under enemy for victim, because he actively disdains anyone from old world Giovanni.
right.
He's respectful, he's cordial, but yeah. And offering the ring is to him kind of like a smack in the face. He's like
I don't want you to
really
have
gotta
to
fucking do this.
Well, okay, so
I'm just being honest, you know.
I wish you could have a willpower reroll and a willpower roll. Let's just say that it's been cordial and that the expression from Armand is not one aimed at you, at least maybe not personally. You're not sure. It rubs wrong, but you know that there are protocols, and he's given a blessing. He's given the okay for Javier to conduct business in the arms trade. He's allowed you to bring this outsider into his home to sit dinner. So he kind of expects that, and he has that look on his face of expectation. Like he's you're dancing on a fine line, man. I would say that you're a nut hair's breadth away from like not keeping your cool.
The best thing I can offer is if I take a temporary willpower
I would
damage,
say,
and I'm eventually going to have to earn it back.
I don't know. I don't think this would equate into a stain, but definitely, like, I would say that 2 of your willpower
I definitely have to tough it out.
Are temporarily burned if you don't want to lose your cool right now, because 2 is not enough.
I'm gonna have to do that.
Okay.
So he takes his hand, he kisses the red ruby, eyes shut, full of disdain, but he has to keep his cool because he knows this is for the betterment of their domain.
The 2 of you can see the struggle in Carlisle. There's no mistaking it. Like this, when the ring came across the desk, he clenched up. You can see the fire spark in his eyes. You can see the muscles contracting. This shook him. Even as cordial and nice as this little sit down's been, that one thing rocked him. And it's clear by the look on Armand's face that he knows it. He's not reacting. He knows that Carlisle is doing what Carlisle must. And probably in a hurry to get out of the room at this point. Like, saving face now is much more important than anything else he had to say. Because it could go really bad. He lingers a moment with the hand and ring outstretched before he places his hands on the desk, one over the other, with the ring prominently displayed for the other two to see. Your efforts will not go unnoticed. Keep your flock in check. And tell Dr. St. Germain the same. We don't
Absolutely
need
done, Giovanni.
unnecessary entanglements with the tower. But they will...
Understood.
They will do as expected. And that tax... Forget it. It will not exist come this time tomorrow. I promise you that. He takes his scotch glass, throws it back, stands up. Gentlemen.
Stands up, nods, and he heads out.
Javier's going to stand up and nod and also add, as a man in life who enjoyed this particular vice, I know what it is you shared with me and appreciated greatly. I wish you a good evening.
Good evening, Javier. Luke.
Luke will stand up, say, I greatly appreciate your hospitality, and I hope I've represented myself well.
He has a brief chuckle. Good evening, gentlemen. And he turns, walking back to the globe and looking out the window as you all depart or not.
Part.
Oh, I'm definitely right behind. I'm behind CJ. Assholes and elbows out of that room.
Out in the hall, there is, the activity now has livened a bit in the house. Some people have exited the dining room, or again, going from room to room or doing whatever they're doing. There's like conversations going on. But you are, after you leave his office, are met with one of the servants who motion you all to the front door.
Lobby, front entrance, heading to the valet.
Yep. Your car is actually out front waiting, as if they were expecting you to exit.
Head in. Get into the driver's seat.
Luke goes in the back and makes sure to pick up his gun and stick it into his waistband.
I'll get in the front passenger seat.
Excellent. And off you all go, leaving the castle in the rear view. Like we do every evening when we wrap up, we like to go around the room and do highs, lows, and nominations for extra XP. We'd like to thank our viewing audience for hanging out with us. We encourage you to reach out to us after the streams and come out and hang out and chat with us. Let's go ahead and start right away with Mr. Jude St. Germain.
Start with the low. I have worked super early in a couple hours. That's the only thing. Hi, anytime I get to play with you guys is awesome. I do like, we got a lot of each individual's like story and characteristics and stuff like that going on. I think my nom is CJ for tonight. A lot of good RP, got a lot of good mindset and like character history and stuff like that.
Excellent. Luke.
I guess so high. I guess just experience this whole Hakata dinner thing as a player. I know very little about any Hakata stuff, so I think it's there's a very good setting of the scene, the tone, and I feel like everyone kind of knew how to play it out, and it was a really cool setting to be in. Low, I can't think of anything right now. So I'll get back to that. Okay, so Nom will have to give it to CJ. Just really bringing a lot of excellent character flavor, bringing a lot of excellent ties, giving the sense that the character really exists in this world and exists in this hierarchy and knows people and knows how to act. Yeah, and then I guess for my low, I guess I got kind of carried away with my description at the beginning. I probably should have given more room for the storyteller to talk and introduce complications, but I guess now you'd be more wary of that in the future.
You did fine. I think I had more than enough screen time. There's a lot of exposition tonight. Javier.
So I don't really have a low. So that's always a good night. My high was definitely the dinner as a set piece. I really enjoyed the illustration of the difference of the family to the tower. I thought that was very well done by the storyteller, so thank you. I really enjoyed that. And my nom would have to be for the good doctor. I really liked you basically slapping that other fool who was rude in the beginning, just for no reason other than to be a dick, basically. Yeah. So that
petty as fuck.
Yeah, that checked the boxes for me. I really enjoy when you do that kind of stuff. So my nom goes to you.
It's like when he pushed base.
Yeah.
And Elysium, like, excuse me.
You're done.
CJ.
Oh god, I love playing this fucking game with you guys. My high had to be watching Luke squirm and seeing how things are on the other side, because I saw how he had certain expectations when he got to Elysium, and he has his gifts as far as etiquette and whatnot, but it was interesting to see his reactions to things in a completely different sect, and seeing how politics unfold, how traditions unfold, and I think he handled himself very well. My high, probably ends there. My low is we have to stop fucking playing. My nomination has to go to Javier, because it felt for a couple of episodes like he was playing catch up as far as interactions and being able to delve into his backstory and being able to really bring him up with other characters. I think this definitely cements him in to bring him up to everybody else.
Hi from me. Once again, we're playing together. We're having a fantastic time. Getting a more intimate setting with 4 or fewer people is great, because you can deep dive into personalities and really get a little more out of each of the characters, because they get more attention, more time, and more development, versus when we have 6 or 7 or fucking 9 people sitting at the table. You gotta, like, boom, boom, boom. You gotta hit everybody. So, so lesson learned again, Mike. Keeping the table smaller. The lesson has been learned.
I only advise in and out of game.
My low, I didn't get enough preparation time for the Giovanni dinner. Like, I really wanted to do that up bigger than. Well, I think we did it up fairly well, but I could have done more with that scene, with establishing the family and how they work and interact and the pecking order. I think we established the pecking order piece pretty well. Only other no other, actually, really no lows. We weren't very action oriented tonight, which is fine because some nights go that way. This is, again, I'll say it. I was heavy on exposition this evening, setting tones and playing parts of various SPCs. My nom, I'm going to be a dick, and I'm going to split it between Jude and CJ. I like how Jude, even in the presence of his superiors and people who are clearly above his pay grade, he's still Jude. Like, he doesn't act different. He doesn't flinch. He's matter of fact. And yeah, it's I like that dynamic with Chase's character, because his other characters I played with are all over the place.
They're all like,
I gotta go return some videotapes. I was like,
yeah, I wore the lab coat and like the normal apparel, and like everyone just knows like that's like they fucked with Luke the whole time. Like, I'm not gonna open up this can of worms with you. Not again.
Yeah, if that dice roll would have gone bad for you, Luke, like if you had fallen to her temptations, it would have been a really, really bad night for you.
And yet, with the wave of the eyes, the tables were turned.
Oh,
wow, turned into the main
tables.
Well, she broke protocol at the table by doing that to you in the presence of all of these family members. It's not like she's a member of the family. She was table dressing. She was another place setting at the table that looked pretty. She's meant as a distraction.
I just assumed she belonged to Armand.
Well, you assume away, sir. Viewers, thank you again for joining us. Please stay tuned. We have a short PSA coming up. We do take mental illness and awareness very seriously. Most of us have experienced some form of that in a form or fashion or another. PTSD, abuse, neglect, you name it. The personalities that you watch online, most of us are here because we've had some kind of trauma in our lives and we take it seriously. So if you know someone who's in crisis or needs some help, or maybe even just a friendly voice or a push or a little bit of support, please stay tuned. Jot down the phone numbers that we have. They're the national support lines, and we look forward to seeing you all next time on the night shift. Good night, everybody.
Hello, my name is Trevor Chapman, and I play Rico Suede on Prince William by Night, the Night Shift. I'm here to remind you that your mental health is a very important thing. We all have problems, and I do mean all of us. I personally have suffered from both clinical depression and suicidal ideation. Sometimes it can be hard to share our issues because we don't want to burden other people, or we're too afraid or ashamed of the things we have done or the feelings that we have to even try to reach out to other people. But friends and family are here for a reason. They would much rather hear that something is happening in your life and help you with it than to find out too late that they didn't even know and they couldn't even try. If you feel that you can't talk to your friends or family, there are other resources available for you to talk to. Please take advantage and reach out to them. There is no need for you to go through this alone. We all need help sometimes. There is absolutely no reason to feel ashamed or afraid to ask for assistance, especially if you need it right now. If you or someone you know is in crisis, whether they are considering suicide or not, please call the toll-free lifeline at 800-273-TALK to speak with a trained crisis counselor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline connects you with a crisis center within the Lifeline network that is closest to your location. Your call will be answered by a trained crisis worker who will listen empathetically and without judgment. The crisis worker will work to ensure you feel safe and identify options and information about mental health services in your area. Your call is completely confidential and free. Again, that number is 800-273-8255. If you are unable, unsure, or prefer not to speak in person, text the word NAMI
to 741-741 to connect with a trained crisis counselor to receive free 24/7 crisis support via text message. You are not alone. Trained expert advocates are available 24/7 to provide confidential support to anyone experiencing domestic violence or seeking resources or information. Help is available in Spanish as well as other languages. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline toll-free at 800-799-SAFE. Again, that is 800-799-7233. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, help is available. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline toll-free 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 800-656-HOPE. Again, that is 800-656-4673. You will be connected with a trained staff member from a sexual assault service provider in your area that offers access to a range of free services. For the Disaster Distress Helpline, call 800-985-5990 or text the word TALK with us to 66746. This helpline provides immediate crisis counseling for people who are experiencing emotional distress due to any natural or human-caused disaster. This multilingual, confidential, and free helpline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Again, call 800-985-5990 or text TALK with us to 66746.